Welcome to Labcast, a podcast about the medical laboratory science profession, brought to you by MedLab Convo. To get notified once we drop an episode, you can do well to subscribe to all our social media platforms at MedLab Convo. For questions, feedbacks, and shoutouts, you can do well to send a mail to at medlabconvolabcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
I honestly did not know whether to laugh or cry. There I was sitting down at the curb in front of my departmental building with its faded yellow paint. I had been scrolling through the university portal on my phone, checking out our semester results that were just released, when a burst of red shot out at me without warning. F. I was seeing an F in my physiology results. My first reaction: this is not my results. Hello there. I know you would like to hear the rest of the story, but before that, welcome to another episode of Labcast. My name is Chinelo and Mudaga, and with me here is
Incompetence, Nmesoma. Hello again. And on this episode, we have a special guest who is going to be sharing from her wealth of experience with us. Welcome to the conversation, MLS Victoria Olanike. Would you like to introduce yourself and briefly tell us your journey in medical lab science so far?
Thank you, Nmesoma, and thank you, Chinelo. I'm Victoria Olanike Omoloye. I graduated from Ladoke Akitola University of Technology in 2022 with a Bachelor of Medical Laboratory Science degree, and I'm currently a lecturer at Bowen University, Iwo campus at the MLS program. So my journey through MLS, it wasn't really a rosy one. My journey started in 2013 when I joined LabTech. I gained admission into the pre-degree science program in 2013, and then there was strike for 6 months, and our pre-degree program had to start in 2014 instead of 2013 due to the strike. So January 2014, we were back to school, pre-degree program ran through. I passed the exam. I wrote another JAM as well, which I passed as well, wrote for CTME. And my JAM admission came out towards the end of 2014, and I was given admission to study medical laboratory science, which I had applied into because I heard that medicine was overfilled. LAUTECH was having issues with medicine, and they had not been given admission for medicine for about 2 to 3 years. So just to play safe and not let the school drop me into any other course, I decided to just pick MLS by mistake. Like, it was at this registration center, I just made up my mind to go for MLS. I didn't really know what it was about. And then my pre-degree also, the admission came out, and I was also given MLS as my course of study, even though I registered medicine and surgery, but I was given MLS. And that was when the journey started fully in 2015 January. And along the way, yes, I entered 200 level 2015 December, but there was strike, and then we were on and off. 2016, 2017, the strike was still on and off. And then in 2018, when we were to get our results to know, okay, whether we'll be moving to 300 level, I got my results, my first semester results, and I was shocked because I had an F. Meanwhile, my 100 level was sweet, it was awesome. I came into 200 level with a 4 points, and I was getting a 2.21 GPA in 200 level first semester. So it came as a shock to me. My results did not do justice to the effort I had put in. I remember in 200 level, even through the strike, I rarely went home for strike. I was usually in school reading, night classes. My hostel mates didn't really recognize me because I rarely stayed in the hostel. I was sleeping in school, literally. And yet, and help was staring at me. Other results, E's and D's with C's. The only courses I really did well at were my CSC, GNS. Yeah, I think I had A in CSC, and at the point I was feeling maybe I should just cross to engineering because I seem to be doing well at my engineering course, at the computer science engineering course. And then second semester result came. It was okay, but the truth was still there. Due to the results I had in first semester, I had to repeat because of an F in biochemistry. I was not even but BCA 301. It happened to be BCA 211, like the simplest biochemistry I was doing. And it was devastating compared to when I compared it with the stress I had gone through 2000 and from 2015, that was December 2015 till that point, that was around March 2018. So the journey of 1 year spanned through almost 3 years, and I was receiving a result that was telling me that I would have to repeat for 1 more year. So it was really devastating, and I remember meeting with some people, my classmates, my lecturers, what could be done and the likes, and the truth was just staring at me. I just had to repeat 1 whole year after those strikes just because of one result.
That must have been quite a really tough experience, MLS Victoria. I mean, I'm glad you shared it with us. But I would like to ask, when you first encountered a carryover, the very first time you encountered that carryover, how did you feel? And then what were some of the thoughts that went through your mind at that time?
All right, I said it was really devastating. I was shattered. What made it even more devastating was the fact that I was academic coordinator of my fellowship at that period. I was taking tutorials, I was teaching people, they were doing well. I was teaching some of my classmates, they were understanding. But unfortunately, I failed. So it was a really devastating moment for me. Coming being the first daughter, the first daughter syndrome in African homes, you have to be like very intelligent, you are laying down the foundation, you are setting the pace for others to follow. There is a lot of expectation. So it brought me to a period where I questioned myself, I questioned my intelligence, I questioned God, I questioned my faith. I remember there were days when I questioned if God really existed because I was serving God, I was reading, I was really reading, and I was putting my best, I did my best. And yet, like, I wasn't staying in my hostel, I wasn't sleeping, I was not lazy. So, and with the period, with the strike, with everything that had been happening, there were advices for me to go to other universities. I kept telling my parents that I wanted to stay in Lautech even through the strike. And this was coming at this period. And then it was really a tough one for me. I contemplated suicide quite a number of times. I even attempted suicide once, although I could not. I attempted it, but I could not go through with it because God intervened. Yeah, I had many plans, many thoughts of, okay, what was the best way to kill myself? What was the best way to take my life without really going through the pains? So it was really a devastating moment for me. It was an embarrassing season for me as well, being that in Lautech then, we were running two campuses, the Ogbomoso campus and the Osogbo campus for the clinicals. So if you passed 200 level courses, you would move to Osogbo campus. So for me, who had an issue, I could not move to Osogbo campus with my colleagues. I had to remain in Ogbomoso campus. So it was obvious to everyone in the fellowship, everybody in the hostel, everyone around me that something was wrong. Why was she not moving to Osogbo campus with others? I thought she's the, like I mentioned earlier, I was the academic coordinator of my fellowship. So I was quite known in the fellowship. Let me say, I was popular in the fellowship. And everybody knew that I was a medical student. I was a medical laboratory science student who was supposed to move to Oshogbo campus. But I was still in the fellowship. I was still in Ogbomoso. So the embarrassment, the looks, the questioning looks, at a point I was still taking tutorial even through those periods. And at a point I had to tell my successor that I would be dropping out of the team, the tutorial team, the academic team. So I dropped out of it, but I still had people I was taking personally. So because it was that bad, like it was that bad, and realizing that with all the expectations I had put many people to, like, had it, I did not just embarrass myself. I had brought like embarrassment to other people. It felt like I had brought embarrassment to God, to the body of Christ, to other tutors. Like, what are you people teaching when you are failing and the like? So that was how the experience was for me generally.
That was a lot. I don't even know what to say. When we asked you to share your experience, I don't think either of us expected that it would have been that serious. And I am really glad that you found the courage to navigate that kind of tough situation. And if there are two things I've gotten from what you've shared so far, it is that carryovers affect students more emotionally than we realize. Sometimes some lecturers are like, oh, just rewrite it. It's just one course. Rewrite it. And they say it in a very casual way that obscures this other parts that you've just highlighted. What about the mental torture? What about the emotional burden? And for somebody like yourself who was in a position of visibility, I can't imagine how tough that burden was for you. And another thing you highlighted was that expectations and pressure plays important role during this period. Well, from your experience, you've established that carryovers don't actually reflect on your competence. So, because you had a carryover, does not necessarily mean that you're not working hard enough. Does not mean that you're not brilliant enough. But now, can I ask, what would you say as a lecturer or as someone who has access to students now? What would you say to a student who believes a carryover has ruined their future, or who felt some of the emotions you felt? You said you felt like you had embarrassed not just yourself, but your family and the church at large. So, what would you tell a student that is in that situation currently?
All right. So as a lecturer in MLS, we know the rule in MLS. 1F in 200 level is an automatic carryover. It's an extra year. It's just an MLS rule. Recently, I had a mother in my office begging. Like, this mother was kneeling, crying, and begging. I just had to tell her there was nothing I could do. It was beyond me. It was an MLS rule. It was not a Bowen rule. She had been to the VC, the DVC. They both told her to come to my office because I was the one representing the HOD in. I'm the one who represents the HOD in Iwo campus because my HOD is based in Ogbomoso campus. So the woman came to my office begging. I had to tell her there was nothing I could really do about it because it was just the rule. It was the laid down rule. And the students were aware of it. So many times I've had issues like that of parents. Imagine paying millions of naira and a student has to repeat just because of one course. I've had issues of parents call me begging me to speak with their daughter, their son, because they are afraid that the child would injure or harm him or herself. I had one that the man had to travel down just to tell me to help him to be checking up on his daughter because he was really scared that she would harm herself. And I understood because I had been there. So many times I just tell those parents that I have been in your shoes, I've been in their shoes. So I know what it means. I know what it really means. It does not mean that that student has not put in the effort. So most time I just try to encourage the students and encourage the parents. I try to let the parents know that if student failed does not mean the student was lazy. Sometimes it's just a misunderstanding of the system. Because yes, I was reading, but I wasn't reading as a medical student. There's a way you read as a medical student. There's a way you assimilate things. There's a way, like, you don't read the way you are reading your general chemistry, physics, the same way. You don't read physiology, biochemistry, anatomy that same way. So one thing I try to do with students is to let them understand their competence level, let them understand their method of reading, how they actually understand it. Am I going for night class just because my friends are going for night class? My going for night class, am I, because sometimes you are stressed, you really need to sleep, but because of the pressure of having MLS, you are not sleeping. So everything you are reading, you feel you are reading, but it is not staying because the brain really needs to rest. So I introduce the balance to my students. They need to rest. They need to to feed well as well. They need to balance their diet to put their minds at rest. Some students are going through things from home. Their parents are calling them about issues going on at home. I try to let them know once your exam is near, if it's possible to let your parents know that at this period, all they should call you for is just to greet you and pray for you. No extra burdens. Sometimes I also let them know that it's the fear. Yes, many times students are afraid towards exam. I think I had that as well during the second semester exam. I was literally dreaming and seeing failure in my dreams. I was By the time we were writing second semester exam, we had not even gotten the first semester results. So I didn't even know that I had failed in first semester. Like, I would wake up from my dream and I would be crying literally. That was how much the fear was on me. Until I had to speak with, I attended the School of Leadership during the strike, so I met with the pastor that organized the School of Leadership Development. He happened to be the HOD of Computer Science department at that period. So I met with Prof, and the way he challenged me, he spoke the word of God to me, he encouraged me. So that gave me confidence. So by the time I wrote second semester exam, I did well in second semester because I had been encouraged. That fear had been broken. Meanwhile, I had not done that in first semester. So most time when students show signs and symptoms of fear, I tell them to nip that fear immediately. Like, stop reading, iron out this fear. What is causing it? What are you seeing? What are the thoughts that are coming to your mind? So many times students are after reading to pass. They miss out on the part that there is a place of the mental health plays a big role. The spiritual health as well plays a big role because imagine someone who is sleeping and dreaming of failure. You definitely know that something is going on spiritually, but I was not paying attention to it. So there is a place of spiritual health, there's a place of mental health, there's a place of balanced diet, like physical health as well. So it's beyond just reading. Students just believe, let me just read and pass. It's beyond that. I remember the course I failed. While reading, I had impressions that I knew it was the Holy Spirit that was directing my reading, but I ignored it. I felt no. These questions, why will a lecturer be asking me to write on stoichiometry in a BCH exam? Stoichiometry is basic chemistry, in secondary school chemistry. Why should I read it? Meanwhile, I entered into the exam hall and that was the question I saw in number one. Number 1A to J, or five naira questions, were full of basic chemistry questions that I ignored. And I was reading gene cloning, I was reading genetic engineering. So that's another place. Is spiritual intelligence plays a role. The place of mental health is very important. Physical health. Also ensuring that a student is not carrying extra baggage, extra burden during the examination period. I see students that they tell me they're having issues with their boyfriend, and I'm like, you are just in 200 level, you're having issues with boyfriend, and you're having exam. Break that relationship and focus on your exam. Sometimes they look at me like I'm being harsh on them, I'm not being understanding. I'll just be like, see, relationship is breaking. Like, you're having exam, you're telling me your boyfriend is not calling you, is not picking you up. Forget him, just break up, just ignore him, focus on your exam. That's the important thing. Some students, okay, you are a Christian, because exam is coming, you stop praying, you stop studying your Bible. All you are doing is reading and reading and reading, and you've forgotten that life is spiritual in as much as it is physical. Even if you are a Muslim, whatever it is you believe in, don't forget your God in the period of exam. There's a place of prayer as well. There's a spiritual intelligence that lets you know that okay, this part you are reading, stop it, focus on something else. There's a spiritual intelligence that helps you to know that okay, you need to take a break now. You need to focus on your mental health. There are times when I want to read and I just feel don't read, just take a break, rest. And even if it's a 10 minutes break, the brain is relaxed and whatever you read after that period, you are able to assimilate. So for a student who has failed, that's what I just tell them, that you fail does not mean you are not intelligent. It does not mean you don't know what to do. It only means that you have ignored all of these other principles and you are just focusing on reading. You know that your question is going to be CBT based. During our own time, there was no ChatGPT. What I used to do was, I would, if I know that the exam is a CBT exam or an MCQ exam, I used to use my hand to set questions from my manuals. Like I will write out question number one, number two, I'll put options there. The answers will be somewhere else and I'll be practicing. Now, students don't need that nowadays. ChatGPT is there to do that for them. All they need to do is enter the PDF and generate questions and practice the questions. So things are even easier for them now. So those are the things I just give them. Things you should understand is beyond just reading and pouring down. Understand your lecturer as well. What's their method? Some lecturers already gave you the questions of the exam while teaching you. So if you miss classes, you will miss those questions. If you focus in class, you will get those questions. You will be familiar with them before the exam. So just understand your lecturer, understand basic principles that aid academic excellence and not just the reading part of it. So that's what I just tell them and I encourage them. So many times when students have had those issues, when I meet with them and we walk through the new semester that they are repeating in, they come out with beautiful results. Like their results are usually beautiful and amazing at the end of the day. That's for those who listen to what they are being told. Thank you.
MLS Victoria, I feel like you can literally read my mind and answer the questions I have for you before you ask them. Thank you very much for that reply you gave. I was wondering what things you put in place to help you pass a course, to help you get over the carryovers you had and retake a course and pass it. But then you already answered, and I really hope those students who would be listening to this would actually pick up those tips and it would help them to run in the nearest future, except especially for those who are about retaking any course. But permit me to ask though, what do you think about situations where students who have had carryovers go back to their lecturers to ask to see their scripts or to beg those lecturers to pass them? Do you think it is, what do you think about it generally? And if you think it is a good idea or a wise idea, what do you think is the best way for these students to approach their lecturers after a carryover?
Okay, in a conventional university like a federal university or state university, you might not have that opportunity, and you might as well. In my own case, I met with the lecturer. There were two though, but there was one of them who was more fatherly, and after lots of encouragement from my fellowship president then, I decided to move to reach out to him. I and my friend, we failed that course together. So we went to the lecturer and told him, sir, we failed this course, what can we do about it? And the light. And the man just said, are you children of God? We said, yes, sir. He said, it's okay. Since you are children of God, don't worry. Just rewrite the course. You will not fail again, yeah? And the man pet us. And so we still had to write. But the thing is, at least we tried. And the fact that we tried, there was an encouragement from him, knowing that the lecturer was even still encouraging us that don't worry, you are children of God, you will not fail again, yeah? Just rewrite it. So he handled the matter, the way he responded kind of gave me a hope it kind of gave me a hope that okay, I'll write it. I don't have any other choice. But then I'll not fail again. So I will. It's just one course. So, and in Bowen, students are allowed to write letters when they are not okay with their results. I've seen a student who got 68B, and the student still wrote a letter that this 68 is not my score. I'm supposed to get an A. So I think in private universities there is more opportunity, because it's the right of students to request for such a thing. It's the students' right. But in most of our federal and state universities, you might not even want to try it, but sometimes you can. In my own case, I approached the lecturer physically. I went to his office, and he did not even bother to bring out my script for me or anything. He just said, see, nothing can be done again. We've sent the results, we've done everything. Just rewrite it, read it well, and you won't fail again. So that was how mine went. But in Bowen, students usually write letters. So we'll recheck the scripts, we'll remark sometimes, but most times, at least all the letters that have been coming to my office that have, because I sign on behalf of my HOD for Iwo campus. So all the letters that I've signed and the results that have been sent back to me, I think out of 10, just one or two actually got changed. Like probably there was an error, but the rest, it is still the score. It's still the score most of the time. So, but I won't deny any student who has the opportunity to request for such, just ask your level advisor in your school, wherever you are schooling at, ask your lecturers how it is being done. Yes, just ask your lecturers how it is being done. I know in Lautech, there was a time I wrote a letter then for CSE results. It was an AR, awaiting results. That was in 100 level. Meanwhile, I had an 85A in the course. So I wrote a letter, I filled a form, submitted, and by the time they sent the result to my department, it was an A. So there are times when you can do such. There are times when you can approach the lecturer personally, and the lecturer could check if truly you failed or you anything, they will check. But just ask your level advisor or meet with a lecturer in your own department on how you can go about it. Don't be rude with it. There are students who would ask in a rude way, and the way you ask, you just like okay, you are asking me like I marked wrong or what. So there's a way you approach such matters. There's a way you approach such lecturers. I won't advise you to just go to the lecturer just like that. If it's not someone that you have easy access to, go through your level advisor in your department, or your student advisor, any one of them, or a lecturer in your department. Just ask them how you can go about it. If you are very sure of yourself. In my own case, yes, I won't really say I was so sure of myself. Just like I mentioned, there were times when I was reading and I felt the nudge to read something else, but I decided it can't come out. Enter the exam hall and I saw what I was saying cannot come out. That was what came out. So I knew that I had also flopped on my own end. Like I was reading what was not going to come out. So, but if you are very sure of what you've written that you didn't fail, then means you have the access. It is your right. It is your right as a student to request for a review of your score. So just meet up with your lecturer to know how to go about it. If you are to write a letter, how is the letter going to be written? Who are the people you are going to route the letter through? Is it going to go through your HOD, through the dean, through the provost, then to the department in charge? So that's just it. Just ask questions from your department, your school, because different universities have different ways of running their things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, MLS Victoria. So I like that you hinted that going to context for your results can be a bit tricky, and then it's important for you to go through a course advisor. For people that attended public schools, for example, I studied at the University of Nigeria. It's I don't know. Most sometimes it is very problematic to go and ask for your scripts. A scenario I remember vividly was when one of my classmates had a carryover in a college course, and then she was so certain that it wasn't her result. And before then, we've been having issues, with college courses. You could write an entire script. You could do so well, and when the results are out, you will be seeing your results in decimal points, and I'm not even exaggerating. So she went that day to, context and asked for to see her script or possibly for a remark. And the man said, let me promise you that if you pursue, this remark, you're going to fail worse than you've just failed, right? So don't even bother yourself. So it was very discouraging for her, and she ended up not pursuing it because the man made it look like I even helped you. Okay, no, she didn't fail the course. I think she got a D. And so the man is like, oh, you would have actually failed the course, but there was a way marks were later distributed and all of that. So if you want a remark, be assured that you're going to fail the course. So sometimes it's not a straightforward thing, but like MLS Victoria said, always go through a course advisor. Don't just barge into a lecturer's office, especially if you're not familiar with this person. That leads me to ask MLS Victoria, in your own personal experience, did senior colleagues or mentors play any specific role in helping you to deal with, these carryovers or the emotions that came with it?
Yes, they did. In fact, they really, really did. Because I believe you cannot walk through life alone. On that day, the day I got the results, yes, I think even though I had rough experiences after getting that result, but my healing started the day I got that result. Immediately I got it, I met with my class rep, Namdi. He was my very good friend. So I told him, I showed him my results. And then he called some of our other guys as well, Isaac and I think Isaac, yes, Isaac and one other person. I'm trying to remember his name now. So the three of them encouraged me, motivated me, and I was like, what can I do? Is there a way out? And they were just like, our department, there's no way out. And the funny thing that happened then was that aside from those of us who had Fs in my department, those who did not have any F were still more than the quota. So the department now decided to arrange people's CGPA from the best CGPA to the lowest. And after arranging the CGPA, those who had low CGPAs but did not have any F were asked to still spill over. So when I was trying to fight for my own one F, I was looking at people who did not even have F at all, and they were asked to spill over. So we were going from student affairs, DSA, the VC, we're just going up and down, writing letters. It got to a point, I think those guys had to go to Abuja to fight for that we didn't fail, and you're asking us to repeat for what? Just because they already had more than 75 people in the class. So that was how bad it was. So it was along that period, I think, yes. So by the time after that year of repeating, I resumed to Oshogbo campus earlier. So I resumed for voluntary posting. So that was when I met with senior colleagues, those who had been there already, 400 level, 500 level students, and I got close to them. And they were the ones who were now opening my eyes to the reading method. Earlier on I mentioned that some people, you are reading chemistry, you are reading physiology, anatomy, biochemistry, the way you were reading physics and chemistry. Meanwhile, there's a different dynamics to reading in medical school. You have to understand what you are doing. There is a smart way of reading. You don't have to just read and cram everything. There are smart methods of reading. There are means of understanding better. So those were the things that the seniors helped me with. Yes, I moved with seniors a lot. I moved with them a lot. Even with the sets I was supposed to be in, that I repeated from, that I spilled from, I was still close to them, even till they graduated. So it really helped me a lot. I also remember then when I got that result, I called my academic mentor and I was like, "Bro, me, I failed." So like, "What did you say?" I said, "I failed." Like, "Have you thanked God?" That was the first thing he asked me. I was like, "Wait, I had an F in medical in medical laboratory science, which means I will repeat one extra year after 2 years strike. And you are telling me about thank God. And he said, yes, you have to play a song and dance. My sister, I had to do that. I really had to. I played a song, stood in front of my mirror. I was crying and I was dancing. So that's why I said that my healing started that very day. From my class rep and my friends to the point of my mentor. Then I think in the fellowship as well, there were big brothers in the fellowship in my college, like collegians in my fellowship also that I spoke with, and there were people who were motivating and encouraging me all around. So those ones helped me when it came to the point of the emotional, the mental part. And then when I moved to Oshogo campus finally, I had seniors who now taught me, like put me through the methods, the way to read. In fact, I think I had my best results in 400 and 500 level. And those were my busiest days on campus. And those were the times I had the best results. I was not all reading. Okay, I think that me is here. I was into voluntary work, like I was a serial volunteer. I was active in fellowships, I was active in organizations, I was traveling for conferences, for mission, and yet my results were like I had the best results in my 400 level and 500 level because I had understood the cheat code, had understood the principles, the spiritual principle, the emotional, the mental, the physical principles of everything. So it, seniors and mentors really helped me a great way. They helped me so much. So it's very important to have senior colleagues that you can speak with, that you can open up to, that can lead you. I used to get notes from seniors before the semester starts. Like as I'm entering 300 level, I already had 300 level notes from my seniors. As I'm entering 400 level, I already have 400 level notes from my seniors. So during the break, the posting period, I'm scanning through notes already. My brain is already getting used to what the lecturer will teach me for the semester. So if you want to excel academically, you cannot work alone. You need your friends, your classmates, you need your seniors, you need mentors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MLS Victoria. Your story has shown us the importance of mentorship and connecting with those people who have gone through a particular path before you. I mean, from the lecturer who spoke to you, who was fatherly and spoke to you, to the pastor you said you reached out to your senior colleagues. And then we see the effect of this mentorship in your 400 and 500 level results, like you said. Thank you so much for pointing out that advantage. And for our listeners out there, I would like you to know that MedLab Convo is also creating this opportunity for people like you. We have the Career Mentornet coming up. We have the Career Mentornet coming up, and you can find the link in our bio. This is an opportunity for you to connect to mentors who will also guide you through this path so that you would not have any issue when making decisions. Permit me, MLS Victoria, there was something you said that would lead me to my next question. You said when you were talking to one of your senior colleagues and you told him about the fact that you failed a course, you realized that you would have to get extra years, you have to take extra years in that course. Would you say that those extra years you took, would you say they changed your long-term career outcome? Would you say they affected it in any way?
Okay, I would say 50% it did. I've always loved to teach. So naturally, I'm inclined to teaching. And even when I got to Lautech, I joined the academic group of my fellowship fully in 2015, although I'd been taking some students' tutorials in 2014 earlier on. So teaching had always been part of me, but I was not expecting that I would be an MLS lecturer this early in my career. So my intention was that, okay, probably while I'm working in a lab, after some years, I'll own my own laboratory, but I'll be having one side, a side also where I'll just be teaching mathematics to secondary school guys or Jambite, because I love mathematics. I teach math. So that was my plan, that I haven't stopped teaching because teaching is part of me. So I just felt okay, I'll just maybe days that I'm not going to the lab, I'll teach people mathematics. I can even be doing it for free just for the fun of it. So I didn't really see myself as someone who would really be into the academic line initially. But then in 100 level, I I attended a conference and there were some words of prophecies and the likes in this line, but I still did not take it to heart. Yes, I was passionate about academics, redeeming education, the redemptive means of teaching, ensuring that our educational, like I just loved the educational system, the educational sector, the academic, but I was not seeing myself as MLS lecturer, so to say. Then 200 level, I think there were some of my lecturers that I was looking up to, but most of our lecturers are elderly people. So you just feel like, okay, maybe after working 10 to 15 years on bench, so I'll now branch into academics. So that was the mentality then until during my internship, I had the opportunity of meeting with Uniosun students. So Uniosun is like the baby sister to Lautech MLS, Uniosun MLS. So the way they teach them, the people teaching them, it was just like a photocopy of Lautech method. So I just took those students in. So after work, maybe I'm on call. Some of them hang around. I teach them. I tutor them for free. Their practicals, I'll bring my own school practical notes, my posting notes. I'll use it to teach them, put them through stuff. So that was when I realized, okay, I think I love this part more better than bench work. So before the end of my internship, I made up my mind that I was going into academics, and I prayed about it and realized, okay, that's my path. And I started trusting God to just help me. Although I didn't really see myself entering it so early because it just looked like something that was impossible. Like maybe you still work on the bench for like 2 years. So even during my NYSC, I met with some of my lecturers and we're talking, and I was still telling Dr. Adelakun that I want to work for like 2 years before I go for my MSc. Then after my MSc, I'll now look for a lecturing job. He was just laughing at me that you don't have to go through the normal route. Anything can happen. Just be open. And thank God for Dr. Idowu Femi as well. So they were the ones God just used to open my eyes to opportunities and how I could actually find myself in the academic sector without following the regular method of, okay, you work on bench for some years, you now go for MSc, you now go for PhD, you now start looking for lecturing job. Things could happen in another way. Yours could be different. So the way God works with every one of us is just different, and we just have to be sensitive enough to know our seasons and our timings and not to miss out on our opportunities. So yes, that also contributed to it because I remember those times I would sit down in my room and tell the devil out loud, you this devil, I will show you Pepe. So I was so mad at that rule. I'm still mad at the rule, and I still believe something can be done to it, or probably there'll be a way to just ensure that students actually pass, not that they all have to fail. And I think it's happening because during my time, I used to see like 20 something, 50. Yes, my set were 50 something who failed, 50 something students that did not move to 200 level. So, and I think there was a set after us that was about 60 something. So that was how bad it was. Out of maybe 120, 150, 130 so there or so. So I got to Bowen and I also met, I think I met like 20 something students who had to repeat a class. And last set, I don't think they're even up to 20 or 10 still. So I think seeing the numbers reduce is a good thing. And I'm looking forward to a time when students would actually understand what they are being taught and they won't even have to have help. Like lecturers do not have to help students not to have help. Like you mark them normally and they would all do well. So that's what I look forward to. A system of academics where the students are not even afraid of F because they know that once they've been taught, they know how to read and they know that they will pass, they will excel. So that's one thing I look forward to, and I'm still looking forward to it and trusting God to help me with it on methods how can we do it? How can we really help these students that they won't really have to go through that emotional stress that we've gone through? Because if we say we should cancel that law of F, okay, students will continue to have heads in MLS and will not be pampering them. No, why not have a structure where students would not even have F at all, and they'll be doing well and they will know what they are really doing. So that's what I still look forward to, and I'm still trusting God that that time would really come, and it will come soon, and it will be across all boards, all universities, that students will really, really understand their physiology, biochemistry, and anatomy, because those are the courses that are really causing the issues. So yes, so it contributed to my choice of career path 50%, not only. I've always loved to teach, just that I was not looking at it from this point of view initially. Thank you.
Impressive. I think it's also important to mention that sometimes when students get carryovers, it's not because of personal failures or a mistake on their own part. Sometimes it could also be systemic issues. For instance, my school used to use OMR machines that could be faulty. So there are many cases where the sheet does not properly read a script, and then the college ends up recording mass failures. But of course, since there is little to no accountability, these results are often not revisited. So you see people rewriting courses that ordinarily they would have passed. And then there is also the part of human error. Scripts could get missing. There are a lot of things that can happen that contributes to carryovers. And then let's talk about the fact that MLS as a profession is currently overpopulated. Like the student environment is overpopulated. In some classes you have up to 500 people, 600 people, so students do not even have the best learning conditions to learn. And sometimes the learning methods are also outdated. They are not tailored to current realities. They are not tailored to students' ability. Different students have different learning abilities and all of that. So many of these things are not taken into consideration when structuring our educational system. And it shows in the carryovers that are recorded year in, year out, semester in, semester out. I just thought to quickly put that out there. But MLS Victoria, as someone who has been lecturing, who has been teaching for quite a while now, I briefly, what are some of the mistakes you see struggling students make repeatedly?
Okay, thank you very much. So before answering your question, I'd like to emphasize on what you mentioned earlier. There is also the systemic error. There are also times when the curriculum could be overburdened. Yes, we could have courses that are overly, like, the structure of the curriculum needs to also be checked into. We need to look into it. There are times when MLS 200 level students are taking the general 200 level physiology, biochemistry, and anatomy courses, and they still have to take some 300 level courses. I had some with my students last session, and we're trying to cut off some courses. We're trying to remove some courses for them. They were taking neuroanatomy is a 300 level course. Neurophysiology is a 300 level course. We're taking a BCH 305, that's a 300 level course. We're taking human genetics, a 300 level course. So they were taking some 300 level courses that were really affecting them, because even they are taking the introduction and the 300 level courses at the same time. And at a point, we tried removing those courses. But at the end of the day, we still had to add them back, because by the time we brought in the NUC guideline and the MLSCN guideline, we realized that those courses we had removed that were obeying the law of NUC, they were disobeying the law of MLSCN. We had to bring them back all over again. So I don't know if the curriculum can still be restructured and looked into more properly, so that the students will not be overburdened. And aside from that as well, there are times when probably in the case of entering of results, like you mentioned, there are cases of AR, there are cases of errors in imputing of results. So those things as well could also contribute to it as well. And that's why I said there is a place of spiritual intelligence. If students don't learn how to handle things spiritually, errors will continue to happen. So there are some of these things are even beyond your lecturers, that they themselves don't even understand what's going on as well. They don't know about it. So you are the one that would handle it in the place of the spirit and in the place of prayer, that God, I'm committing my matric number, my scores and everything to your hand. No manipulation will happen, no error. So that was where I mentioned spiritual intelligence earlier on. So now, to your question, I think you asked, I'm trying to remember the question I'm trying to answer now.
I asked one question that you see struggling students make repeatedly.
Okay, thank you. So I think many times when students are struggling, we have to look at the foundation of the students. Sometimes the age. These students that actually bring in wrong age into the university. Now, if a student is not up to 16 years, cannot write JAMB, some people will bring in birth certificate that they manufactured last month. And you know that this child is not 16. You can't tell me this. So the age of the students sometimes, fine, some people are young and they are still geniuses, they are intelligent, their emotional maturity is high, but that's not the same thing for all. Some students come into school, the results you are bringing into MLS, is it strong enough for MLS? What's your JAMB score? What's your O level results like? What's your foundation like? If the foundation is already destroyed, the student will just be coming to the university to stress lecturers. I've had a woman called me, okay, the student has 0 point something GPA, at the verge of being asked to withdraw, and the mother was asking me to start taking these students remedial classes, tutorials, personal, like home lesson kind of a thing in the university. And I was like, ma, I'm not even doing this. I don't even have time for myself. And you are telling me to now, the weekend I have to do my house chores, my laundry and the likes. I will not use it to now go to work, to go and be teaching your daughter. Eh, Once the foundation is destroyed, it's destroyed. So as a matter of fact, the student had to be withdrawn from the university generally. So she had to go and retake and look for another university to now go in fresh. So the results students are bringing in, is it really genuine? What's the foundation like? If the foundation is already destroyed, you just be stressing out lecturers in school. The university is not where they do tutorials, like where a lecturer does tutorials. You find their colleagues doing tutorials, but if the foundational biology, physics and chemistry is already poor, it's another thing. So another mistake I've seen students make is that mistake of believing, like bringing the mentality of I was intelligent, I was a head girl in secondary school. Drop that when you are in the university. In the university, that does not work. In the university, I've seen students who came in with C's, like C5, C6, C5, C6, graduate as the best graduating student in the whole of a faculty. And I've seen those who came in with A's and B's ending up with 2-2. So it's not about what you are bringing. Drop that mentality, because that's another thing I've seen, that like when you see 100 level students, I already seen them puff, shoulder puffed eye, and I'm like, you don't know where you are. Forget this secondary school mentality of I was the head girl because I was the most intelligent student. Forget it. This is a new life, a new beginning. Things are different here. So that's what I would like to just tell students, like to let them know that focus on what you are in school for. Forget your past glory. If the foundation is already destroyed, if there is a way of making it fresh, fine. But if that is not done, and then I don't think reading is the issue of MLS students. Students read. Let's be sincere. Students are reading. They just are not reading the right. Just understand the right way of reading. Understand how to answer questions. Understand how to answer questions. So many students don't know how to answer. I'm asking you a question and I'm putting 20 marks. You should already know that you are expected to write at least 2 to 3 pages, add diagrams. But you are seeing 20 marks and you are writing 5 lines. Definitely such a student cannot pass. That's just it. A question is telling you to highlight and explain briefly, and you are giving 2-line definition. The student cannot pass. So read questions, understand questions, and know how to answer questions. That's the best thing. Those are the advice I will give to students. Thank you.
MLS Victoria, I've been listening to you from the beginning of this episode up until this time, and there are two things I've said to myself. One, I wish I was able to hear all this while I was still a student. I must say, students who would be listening to this episode would be very lucky. And like I said before, I do hope they run with the tips that they can pick from this episode. And two, I believe that we need more people with your knowledge and with your vision in areas of leadership, because the MLS umbrella, the MLS in Nigeria really has to be restructured. Before we bring this episode to an end, I would like to ask one final question. What would you like every MedLab student listening to you right now, what would you like them to remember after this episode?
Okay, so every MedLab student listening to me, the first thing I would like you to remember is understand spiritual intelligence. You are in MedLab science, you are in a medical field. There is a lot that is going on that you cannot see, that you do not understand. So make sure your work with God is well. Make sure you have a work with God. Whatever God you are serving, be serious with Him. And number two is that your results do not define who you are. And there was something I missed. Yes, there was a time I reached out to my mentor and I sent him a message that, I'm sorry, Mr. Timmy, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I will not be able to graduate with a first class. As at this 200 level, my results was already poor in 200 level. So I just told him, I'm sorry, I won't be able to graduate with a first class as I earlier promised you. I don't even think I can even make it 2-1, but I will try my best by God's grace to have it 2-2. And that was the message I sent to him. And he sent me a voice note. He said, Olanike, even if you don't graduate with a first class result, you are a first class person already. So I held on to that word all through school, and I would tell myself, well, if I don't graduate with first class, I'm a first class person, but I'll put in my best such that anywhere I get to, if my certificate is not reading first class, when they hear me speak, they hear a first class speaking. I don't know if you understand that. Like I just determined that yes, I'll hold on to this word, and anywhere I get to, they should be surprised that I didn't graduate with a first class. And thank God I graduated with a 2-1. But then I still hold that mentality of, it's not about my certificate, it's not about the A4 paper they gave me when I left Lautech. It's more about what is inside of me and the way I see myself. So I usually tell students to see themselves not with their result, their current results, but they should have a higher way of seeing themselves, not in a proud way, but just see yourself in a better way, beyond that result you are holding. Beyond the results you are holding. The results does not define. In fact, to be sincere, not everybody will use that certificate to do anything. Not everybody will use the certificate. That's just the sincere truth. But while you are in it, whatever you find yourself doing, whatever your hands find doing, do it well and give it your best, so that people would know that yes, you did your best. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, MLS Victoria. I don't think there would have been a better guest than you, honestly, for this episode. And as we wrap up this conversation, I hope that our listeners are reminded of one simple truth, that carryovers do not define them. As much as the medical lab science journey is demanding and one can experience setbacks, it does not mean that you don't have good potentials or that your future is ruined. You can always start again. I also hope that MLS Victoria's example encourages you to pick up yourself if you're currently, struggling with carryovers, or if you're experiencing delay in graduation, or your scores are not reflecting your efforts. We hope that you can find the courage to pick up, and that you also reevaluate your study habits and take some of the advice that has been shared so far. Well, if this episode spoke to you, please do not forget to share with someone who might need the reminder. And like my co-host earlier said, we have a Capacity MentorNet program coming up soon. The link is on our Instagram bio, MedLab Convo on Instagram. So please make sure you register for that program. Also, if you'd want to share anything with us, please feel free to reach us via email at medlabconvolabcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on all social media platforms. And yes, we can't wait to see you next time. Bye.